morning. So it's time for me to jump in here now. Hi, guys.
Yep.
Good to see you. Happy Friday. Or where's
Happy
Jacob? Where's
flipping
Jacob? There
Friday.
it is. There it is. I was talking
Ha-
over it. Say it again. Say it again.
Happy flipping Friday. I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm having a fabulous day. I feel great in my pink. We
Good in
just
your pink.
thank you. Thank
Real
you.
men wear pink.
You making up for the fact that we were just on a Zoom with you and Cory planning a breakout, and he's the one that noticed and not you, and I wore it for you. Is that what it is?
I thought it was more salmon colored. The lighting was off. I didn't know. You look great though. You look great
No.
in your polo
I
shirt.
I feel great. I feel great, Jamie. You look great. Cory looks great. All these fine humans on here look great. Kristen Mothershead's going to be on here, and
She looks great.
looks great. I just look at that. Look at that. Man, I am so excited to be here. I am so excited for where we're at as an agency, man. To come out of July on fire is just so cool. So cool. We I know y'all had a your second best month ever, right? The second best week ever or month ever.
Second best 4-week turn-in month.
Gosh. In
That's
July.
in July. We don't love the whole "it's summer" excuse
Oh,
around here in our agency. Summer is a great time to go out and protect families and hit goals. Really big month for us.
it's a great month to do it, James. It's a great month to do it. August is a great month to do it. September, we got an insurance buying season coming up right around the corner, which if you're brand new, it's a thing, man. In the fall, for whatever reason, from like it's either like September all the way through probably January, insurance sales go up. People are buying more insurance. That I don't know if it's that they get into the normal routine with school and life, and I don't know. Or maybe people just get a little darker in the winter, it gets colder, they start worrying about the future a little more. I don't know. But what I do know is that you're here. If you're here today, if you're brand new, you're starting at the right time. If you're not brand new, you've already been through practice. So it's really the right time. And we just got a lot of people to serve, man. We've got an awesome conference coming up, which I'm so excited for. Um, Really excited for this call too, James. What are y'all gonna be talking about?
Oh man. If you ever saw our text thread with Kristen Mothershead, it'd be things we probably shouldn't talk about. But today we're gonna just talk about her growth journey and how, I mean, if you've seen Kristen Mothershead for any period of time, you know how amazing she is. She's the most resourceful, she's the most emotionally stable and developed, and she laughs when we say that, but we feel it. And we're gonna kind of talk about what that's looked like for her. And she has had this incredible shift in her production and how she's leading from the front, and she's an incredible leader, and I can't wait for her to just pour into you guys today. So you're gonna love it. It's gonna be really good.
So good, so good. Well, I know that a lot of you tell me you like the Happy Flipping Friday thoughts today. You're gonna have to go to Facebook to see them. I'll post it later. I recorded it this morning because man, there's something just that is huge on my heart that I think trumps um, anything that I have on my brain, James. I heard that the Phoenix Fall Tour was amazing, standing room only. Um, and and Andrew, thank you, dude. By the way, I know that you did a ton of work for that event, as you did, Jamie and Cory. But so y'all were there, represented so well. It was cool. But I heard that you were you and Cory, the last people standing in that room. So after the meeting ended, you sat there. There was lines of people talking to you. Um, after I know it's a long day of preparation and then doing your parts and then hanging out there. Same thing at the restaurant y'all went to. Y'all were the last ones there. And to me, my heart could not be more full hearing that. It's something that's important to me to give people time to value people. It's who we are. Can you speak to that and um, what that
Yeah.
experience was like, why you did it, and why is it important?
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to so many events that you've been at. I remember thinking, man, people are like in line to talk to Jacob. Like, how cool is it that you give back in that way. And I mean, the best copycat wins, right? I would love to be the leader that you are. So showing up in that space is something I'm like, okay, I can do that. And the amount of people that come up and just pour their story into you, and they're like, you inspired me for X, Y, or Z, and being able to look in somebody's eyes and give back is something that I'm passionate about it because I've seen you do it. And I mean, I met a single mom that's trying to figure this out. I met someone who hasn't even passed their test because she's terrified to take it. I met someone who's running for ownership. Like, just the conversations I had from people that want to win really big here that are no different than me was awesome. And then to look over and I see a line by Cory and people are lining up to talk to him. So to be able to do this in a partnership is awesome because we can definitely hit more people. But thank you for giving that example, Jacob, because that's the leader I would aspire to be. And it's so cool to have seen you give to somebody without looking over their shoulder at who is next. And I learned that from Andrew Jimenez at events, from Marshall Wayland, from any of the top leaders here. Who you're talking to is the most important person in the room at that time. And I'm human, right? Like, yeah, like, of course I'd love to go see my friends and hang out at the bar and go socialize somewhere else, or go sit and like be quiet for a second, but that's the space to give back. And I saw a sign in my daughter's 7th grade classroom last week when I went for open house, and it said, "You are responsible for the energy you bring to this space." And I thought, wow, what a cool thing for 7th graders to look up and read every single day. But what a cool thing for me as a leader here. I am responsible regardless of how I feel, regardless of what situation is happening to me, to bring the energy to the space that I'm in for the people I'm communicating with, because you never know what you're going to say that's going to change the course of somebody's life here. You never know if that person you are talking to was a day away from quitting, but because they came up and asked you a question, they're going to stay one more day. Just so grateful for the opportunity to serve and give back. And I mean, we were in a lot of debt 4 years ago, a lot of financial debt, but now to come here and be able to just give back in that way is powerful. So thank you. Cory might have something to say about that too.
Yeah, I was just going to ask him, Jamie, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And you don't know, Cory, you don't know, man, what is going on in someone's brain, how they went to a meeting for the first time and were told that these are top leaders, or even if they weren't told, they realized that you were because you were hosting a panel. And then they stand in line to talk to you and you're too busy over here. You're, yeah. And you look over their shoulder, right? You don't know that that was that person's last day because they didn't like the way they were treated. They thought it was all the great things that were just said at that meeting were washed away by the fact that they were undervalued. You know, that obviously didn't happen with you guys. It doesn't happen, right? So Cory, why, Maxwell talks about, and if you haven't heard, Sarah, thanks for sending it to me. She, the Ed Milet podcast, I love listening to that one, but it was, Ed Milet and John Maxwell. He came out with a new book, High Road Leadership.
High Road Leadership. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. High Road Leadership. I haven't read it yet. I will. He's my biggest mentor when it comes to authors and leadership. But man, I love his mindset. He said if a leader takes the perks of leadership, you have to pay the price too. And he was referring to making it right when you make a mistake. But I believe that it is an honor to be in a position to lead, and it's a huge responsibility, dude. Can you tell me why, first of all, how it felt to have a line of people, standing there wanting to talk to you, and then why do you feel it's important that that the leaders on this team follow suit, and we make that, like, we have a chance, guys. Cory, we have a chance to do something different here. Like, what if this team, the leaders on this team were always the last person in every single room? How do you think we could make people feel? Right? So Cory, why is that important to you, man?
Well, the first question you asked me, like, how did it feel? It was a little surreal for me. if you got have put a one in the chat if you've seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall, the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He's like the big ogre, like sound. He's the composer guy who like stands in the back and holds her purse while she's doing all the paparazzi and red carpets and stuff. I felt like that guy for a bunch of years, like just like, hey, big ogre, move, like the hot girl. We want a picture with the hot girl. Like, so I definitely, it was very surreal to have that kind of feeling. I think about a couple of things. I've learned a lot in my life that one word can make a huge difference either direction. And it's the thing that you don't realize that you said that oftentimes, like my kids will say, well, you said this, and I have zero memory of saying that to them 3 years ago. But for them, that one word that I said flippantly just kind of like came out, made a huge impact. So you don't know that like the way you treated that person because you were stressed, because you were about to go on stage, or because you had to go to the bathroom, that's the impression they left with. Is like, so that's really, and we're humans, so we're going to make those mistakes. But I think about that. The other thing I think about is the courage it takes for someone to come and stand in line for someone like Jacob Pogue or Jamie Soucy, especially when you don't know them, because we've all been in that crowd where you're like, man, that person seems like up on a pedestal. They're super important. They're super busy. I don't deserve their time. It takes courage to stand in that line. So they deserve the best of me. And they deserve the best of Jamie. And they deserve, and I know, Jacob, you have been a shining example of that for us. We have talked about it so many times about the way you conduct yourself at conference. Well, to me, the first conference I went to was just eye-opening. I mean, I remember you like apologizing, like, hey, I'm going to take a bite of my taco, but I really want to talk to you. So let me, because the dinner was over and you hadn't eaten anything. So, but I think that's really important. And like I said, it could be just the hello. I'm so glad you're here. That makes a huge difference for somebody. So I think it's the least we can do for the life we've gotten to live. And if that's the price of leadership here, like that's a pretty good price.
It's a great price, dude. You know, and I just never have thought about the courage piece that it does take someone to stand in line. Never, until you just said it. That's true, man. I remember when I was new and you're scared, you don't really know a lot of people, and or regardless, being here a long time to stand in line, you know, that's really special, man. And I also remember, know that 11 years ago nobody would stand in line to talk to me, you know. So I don't, yeah, you could call it a price or a payoff, or a perk, because seeing other people smile, and if we're here to give back and make an impact, man, what a better way to do it. And I heard that and my heart was warm. And I know we have a lot of leaders, that have done this before. This is not the first time it's happened. It's just fresh on my brain, man. And I would love to challenge everyone though. Man, I think, we've got the best culture. We've got the best culture. We've got a great culture. But I think it would be really special if we were known for that. There's not a spring tour, fall tour, local meeting, conference room that one of our leaders leaves the room first. Like, someone is in there. If there's people wanting to talk to you, you're talking to them. As soon as they're done, like, you don't have to hang out and turn the lights off with the people there if like everyone else is gone, but what I'm saying is, let's just give people the time that they deserve, and they deserve it because they stood in line and asked for it. So I love you guys. I'm grateful for you guys. I don't want to take any more time, but man, I'm just grateful to be part of this team with so many people who have hearts for so many people. And I do believe that this is just the beginning, that we're just scratching the surface, that our culture, although it's amazing, it gets better by the day, because we've got people like Kristen coming up and going to get to the top of this thing and going to bring her heart with her. And I know that the people that are breaking out as agency owners, the people that are scratching and clawing to get just over you know, that hump of struggle, it looks really good with our team of leaders. So I'm grateful for where this team is. I'm more excited for where it's going, and I can't wait to hear today's call. Jamie and Cory, I'll throw it over to you, Jamie.
So good. We could end the call there, but we're not going to, because I'm going to tell you guys it's just going to get better. Kristen, we have like 4 minutes, so just condense
Stop it. We can
Just
go
kidding.
5 minutes over, Kristen, because we did. I robbed you of 6 minutes. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I mean, really, you guys just keep chatting away.
No, we're excited.
Can I just say I love you? I love you. I value you. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for being part of this team. And I promise I'm leaving now, and I'm going to let Jamie say how special you are. But thank you.
Thank you. Love you too.
All right, Kamo, DJ Kamo, that's as we refer to her in our agency, Kristen Mothershead. Kristen, when was your official starting month here, year and month?
February 2022.
February 2022, a
I
little
think.
over 2 years here in business. We've known Kristen since a previous company. We went on a cruise together at one point back in the day, where I'm pretty sure Jim Larson did a belly flop. But anyway, that's a different story.
The belly flop contest, yes.
Try to get me to do it. I didn't do it. I sang karaoke with him, and that was enough for me. Kristen is an agency director here. She is working on 110% contract level currently. And just an incredible person. We call her the resource queen in our agency, as well as the DJ with the mostest. But Kristen, let's talk a little bit. Jamie, is there anything else you wanted to add intro wise?
No, I just love her so much. I mean, this company is just so much about people first, and Kristen just exemplifies this. If you've had a conversation with her, you know that she is for you, and that she loves you, and that she wants you to win. And our agency and my life is just so much better because you're part of it. I mean, yeah, we can talk about numbers all day long. She's got 12 writers in July alone, with 78,000 in premium. In June, she had 98,000 in premium with 16 writers. She's bringing new writers in every month. She's got Andy Davis and Emily Davis, so many incredible people that are just building something special here with her. 550,000 in premium year to date, which is it's just awesome. I have no doubt you're going to hit that $1 million mark, and you're just doing really special things, both on the leaderboards and off. But share your story with us. You've got like 12 seconds. I'm totally kidding. You take your time. We want to hear from you.
12 seconds. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things to my story. If you don't know me or you haven't heard my background before, there's a lot there, but in a nutshell, because Jacob talked for 75 minutes,
Totally messing with you. Totally
just kidding. I was looking for a pivot, probably, let's see, in 2020, 2021, I knew I needed to change. I was in the MLM industry for about a decade, and we had done very, very well, built a large team. And at one point, we're consistently making $15K a month, which was great for us and our little family. Oh gosh, do not spotlight. And that business started to go, it started to tank quickly. And I knew that I needed to make a change if I wanted to continue providing for my family, in the way that we had been. And I like to call it, and Jamie loves it, but we were living a yes life. And I knew that I needed to make a change if I wanted to continue to do that. So I remember Jamie was posting about insurance, and I was like, what in the heck is she doing? I wanted something that still gave me the freedom and flexibility that I had the last decade, but I was open to a lot of different opportunities, and really something that people would look at and say, oh, that's a career. That was like, I was like, if I can find that would be great. And everything that Jamie posted, I was like, this sounds like it's everything I love about the MLM industry, but then everything that was missing, all blended into one. And I reached out to her one day. It was in like December of 2021. I think it was in the bathroom, which is pretty consistent with our relationship. And I was like, hey, I want to talk about insurance. And really from there, I mean, she did the same thing to me that she does still today, is sent me the corporate overview, told us to watch it. We did. We were in car line. We had a conversation, and the rest was history. And that's how I landed here.
I love that. I mean, one of the things that I think Jamie and I have kind of talked to each other about and recognized is there was so much growth prior to coming here in other phases of life, right? And one of the things that, knowing you for as long as we've known you, you are a pretty emotionally stable person, and I think it's something that you've worked really hard on before even getting to Symmetry. So, talk to us a little bit about the work you've done prior to coming to this company, and how has that really helped you in your journey so far, and what are you kind of leaning into now?
Yeah. So yeah, a big part of my story that I share quite often about, especially on social media, is I had a history with depression in high school and college. And so that was the kind of starting point of me leaning into personal development. There was a point in that season of my life where I was in a psych ward for about a week. And I think just some experiences that I had there and little groups and classes that we did nudged me, into the direction of I can work on my mind and my mindset and change how I think and feel. And so really just from that, I mean, that was my junior year in college that happened. So from that point moving forward, I saw the counselors and I, really leaned into my faith, which is a huge part of the transformation for me. But I, took the medicine, but then I also just every single day made a conscious effort and choice to feed my mind things that were going to allow me to grow in a way that what was putting me into the place that I was at that moment no longer was an issue for me. So it is a daily progress. And I don't always get it right. There are some days where I completely fail, but it is probably the biggest piece of me that bleeds into every area of my life that allows me to be the person that I am.
I want to thank you for being vulnerable and for sharing your story. Yes, on a call with almost 300 people, but also in the way you do it on social media. Guys, what's most personal is most universal. And I talked about this yesterday on the Razor Ridge call about how you sharing your story allows other people in the background to be like, me too. Like, me too. I mean, even looking at the comments today, like Kristen's helped me get through some really dark days. If you hadn't shared that, which I'm sure was a lot of therapy and just recovery for you, you're helping and impacting so many other people by sharing it. So thank you for that, because it'd be easy not to. And I know people don't want to go like air their dirty laundry on social media, but there's a way that you can do it that can attract other people and help them find just peace and stability through that too. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Even your post yesterday, you're like, I don't even know why I posted this, but it's so real, like the first day of school and how hard that can be. So it's such a good message, and they always are. And I know you put a lot of thought and intention into doing those. But talk to us. I mean, you just did a little bit throughout your story, but what are some hurdles you've had to overcome here?
Oh, geez. So many hurdles. I think probably the biggest, and just through this experience, and I'm kind of like leaning into, we talked about it with Jacob a couple of weeks back on your huddle, but just self-reflection of where can I grow? Where can I get better? Having awareness of like, yes, I am very stable and I am well developed, but I need to continue that journey. So where can I continue to do that? And I wasn't in a place where I was doing that in my old, business. I was just at the top and not looking for room to grow. So here it's opened me up to reflecting again and like tapping into, okay, where can I continue to work on Kristen? Just for all areas of life. And so I think some of the biggest, obviously finances, I share this because I know there are many of you on this call that are new or that are in this season of like, yes, we were doing well and we had done well, but we were also in a place where I think at one point I took a picture and we had like $35 in our checking account. Like, how are we going to pay bills at the end of the week? And so starting this was really hard because you need to invest to get through the learning curve, but we didn't have anything to invest. So we opened a credit card. We, you know, some months skipped car payment. Like, what can we skip and what can we get graces on? What can we push? I mean, we were finagling all kinds of things because my husband, Johnny, who's on the call, I think, started at the same time as me. So we were trying to figure out, how do we even buy leads? I was pregnant. You know, that was my next biggest hurdle. I had a baby in April. Our third child, who you guys has been the most difficult child of all three. She is the cutest thing, but unhinged Haley is unhinged. And there's a 9-year gap in between our middle and our youngest. So we were like, holy cow, what do we do? Kind of similar to Cory and Jamie, like, we ruined our lives. But their kids are amazing. They're a huge blessing, but we got thrown back into it quick. Then you're trying to figure out the learning curve at the same time. And I got Kelly Bush, who's like laboring and like producing 100K while she's delivering. So like just dealing with the struggle of all of that. You know, those were hurdles. And like I said, just recognizing areas of like, okay, I'm not as good as I thought I was in this area, or even being consistent and intentional with my time again. Like in the MLM, I didn't have to really work anymore to get a paycheck. I just showed up. And so I had to come here and actually work and manage my time and, you know, sacrifice evenings sometimes, show up all day Saturday. I've worked every Saturday for as long as I can remember, in the last year. So it's getting through those hurdles, but knowing what's on the other side, that's waiting if I do.
Man, I think the vulnerability part and the honesty part is what I think makes leaders so attractive, right? Is being that real and raw. And so I want you to kind of dig into, I think we talk about Kristen Mothershead in her producer era right now. But I wouldn't say and I think you would say, like, personal production was not necessarily like, you know, KMO wasn't the top producer early on for a while. But if you pay attention to the Razor Ridge Facebook page, it's like Kristen Mothershead's personal highlight story lately of how many incredible apps you're writing right now. What, if you had to really reflect, what's changed?
Yeah, well, so yeah, production. I mean, obviously a big hurdle. I wasn't even producing. I wouldn't even call it production. I was just looking at numbers before we got back, we got on this call. And since April 1st of this year, so in 3 months, I've written 45K, which may not seem like a lot to some of you, but I wrote 34K in the entire year of 2023. And most of that was probably war market, like friends and family. So I'm ecstatic that I'm finally figuring out the production piece. I think for me is, you know, well, yeah, that was a hurdle. And so if I'm not personally producing and I've got great people on my agency who are recruiting, I mean, Annie Davis is like a monster recruiter. And so like, I've got them on my rear and I'm trying to figure out personal production and like, I'm just hitting this wall I can't get around. And so I just was like, I got to change something drastically. And so I think the first biggest thing is just going all in more on budget for leads every week, taking it to a level where it seemed like, oh my gosh, this is insane, especially because I suck right now. So how do I know that this is going to come back to me? That was hard, but I just upped my budget. I picked a lane and I stayed in it long enough to figure out if it was a me problem or was it just not the lead for me, because a lead is a lead, yes, but I had limited time. I didn't want to dial for hours. I have an agency I'm trying to grow. So I need to pick a lane that allows me to win in a way that's best for me and my agency and my family. And for me, I found that lane in Razor Ridge search leads. They are the most expensive, but they're where I found my success consistently. And I started tracking my numbers. I don't track numbers, y'all. I'm not data spreadsheets. They're not my thing. But I knew what I was feeling, like, hey, I'm winning and I feel like I'm winning consistently, but am I? So I did put all my numbers together, and you know, over the course of the last probably 6 weeks too, they've just gotten better. So I'm winning consistently. And now I'm just like, I literally feel like I have a dial where I can throw money in and I can control my income, my personal income, and not rely on my agency overrides or, you know, anything else, I know that I throw it in, it's going to come back to me.
So this is not one of the questions we had chatted about, but we were talking to an agent last night who's living in that fear of what if it doesn't, right? And I know we all hit this point at some level in this business. And I heard you say, I went all in on my budget for leads. Did you have the belief, borrowed belief, like you just took a bet on yourself because you knew you couldn't fail? Like, what was it for Kristen that said, I'm going to do this no matter what and figure it out? I think that person I talked to last night, I hope they're listening to this call because I think this answer is going to help them too.
Yeah, I knew that I needed to do something in order to unlock the next level, whatever that was. Either unlock the next level or determine that I'm just terrible at this and maybe it's not my thing. So, and that really wasn't an option for me. I knew I could figure it out. So I just, we didn't really have the money. I mean, and we didn't have confidence that it was going to come back to me, but I knew that I needed to do something. I needed to move my feet. So going forward is the only direction I wanted to go. And if I was spending $400 on leads, we're going to do 700. And then it was kind of at that point where I started to unlock like my wins and my success and figure out my posture, and how I wanted to show up for clients. And then, I mean, my husband's like, get 12, do 1,000 a week. Like, just, I mean, he's consistently seeing the numbers go up and the income and the profitability. And he's confident with just like, hey, let's go big or go home.
So fun. I heard Ryan Miller talk about this several times in the last week, just in a couple calls that I listened to, and last night on stage, like when you're in debt, and I'm not talking, you weren't in debt. I'm just saying, like, if you're like $100,000 in debt and you're like, man, now they want me to go buy leads, at some point you're like, okay, well, every decision I've made up to here has got me to here. So what's another $1,000? And it was really also around conference. If you're like, I just don't have the money to get there, like what's another $1,000 to get there for something that you see so many people winning at? Why not you? Why not you? And allow that to be the catalyst that gets you out of debt, whether it's conference or your next set of leads, just getting yourself better. And Kristen, I've seen you do that week after week because you went all in on yourself. I want to ask you this. How do you balance?
I want to add one thing to that, James. I think there is a power and a strength inside you that you don't know you have until you don't have any other options. And I think all of us have that. You've heard the stories of like parents whose kids are trapped under a car and the dad like lifts the car up so the kid, like, there is a strength inside you when your back is totally against the wall and you have no choice but to truly fight for yourself, that you will find a level that you don't give yourself credit for. That in your heart of hearts, you don't want to give yourself that confidence that, but there is. And if you're always giving yourself that side door out, because really that's what we're talking about, right? We're putting so much money in here that I have no choice but to make this work. There is no other option, right? And I think we've heard this so many different times from, I mean, that's why Jim Larson, when he came back, he's like, I have 6 months worth of money in my bank account and no other option but this. Jacob Pogue, no other option but to make this work. So there is I want to challenge those people that you're letting fear control you. When you put yourself in that caged position, you're gonna fight, because that's what caged animals do, right? They fight. You're gonna fight for what you want when your back is truly against the wall and you eliminate those out.
Well, and for me, I mean, part of the struggle too with my back was against the wall because I do have Annie. And so now we're flanked because we're the same contract level. So I knew I needed to do something to take control of keeping that momentum forward so that I didn't lose her, down the road. I had so much time, but I wanted to figure it out now. And so I need to figure out how can I get better and not rely on everyone else to do that for me. So
good. So good. All right. One more question, and then we're going to get to rapid fire because I think you're going to think they're funny. How do you balance your schedule? You've got kids, school just starting, a baby that just started school. Can't believe she's in school. But how do you keep that? I don't love the word balance, the harmony, whatever you want to insert there for that word. How do you do that?
Meredith used something that I loved. I used to say work-life integration, but maybe she said harmony. I don't know. Yeah, there's no balance. I mean, I told you earlier this week, it's when I'm doing really well at production, then I'm slacking at the recruiting side, and slacking at just responding to text messages. I mean, posting on social media, we've talked about that several times this week. Like I mean, my leads this week have been like down my, like in a good way, down my throat, just like ready. And it's been crazy, which is great, but it has taken away time from other things. So that's what I really want to work on in August, is just figuring out, like, truly being intentional with my calendar of, like, now that I know that I can produce, and really controlling what I can control on the production side, but then being more intentional with reaching out and following up with people who are in my funnel. I'm time blocker, and I use my calendar. This week is one of the only weeks that I haven't time blocked. Like, so it's kind of out of control for that reason too. I didn't start the week as I usually do, with blocking out everything for the week for myself, for my kids, so thankful I have my husband who, like, you just use a running to-do list together. Like, what can he tackle for me? What do I need to do? What do we need to prioritize? What can we communicate to get done, somewhere else? So it's just little things, like a team effort really going on in this house. And thank God for preschool taking little babies now, because it really has freed up a lot of my time. You can do this with kids, but to be at the level that I am and continue to have momentum forward, it's really essential that she is somewhere 8 hours a day. So
And having so much fun. And she's having so much fun.
yeah, she's loving it. It's pizza day. It's time of her life. So I think that is always, we're 2 weeks into that. So I'm figuring out now life with working hours of normalcy. So,
And it's ever changing. It's
yeah,
ever
it's ever
Kids are
changing.
changing, seasons are changing. Like, there's just being open and transparent in communication. We do the same thing. If we don't meet on Sundays and plan the week, I mean, plan dinners, after school activities, work in the mix, then the week is just a crapshoot.
Yeah.
The week runs you, as opposed to you running your schedule and being prepared and proactive. And I see you do that very well, and continuously getting better, just like we are too. Find the system that works for you. Paper calendar, notes, whatever, electronic calendar, whatever works in yours and your family. So
Yeah.
I love that. Cory, anything else before we do some rapid fire real quick?
No, I really appreciate your honesty and vulnerability. I think
Okay.
there's so many people that sit in the same seat in a different location, but in the same feels, in the same seat. And I really appreciate you and what you bring to our business, as a friend, as friends, as business partners. So thank you.
Thank you.
All
Well,
right,
and I'm
ready?
just gonna say, I'm just gonna say one thing, because I know this is a question I get all the time, but I think going back to the personal development piece, is working on yourself bleeds into all areas of your life. I think the biggest compliment that I get is that I'm so grounded in my journey here. And so I just want to encourage people that if comparison, or feeling like you have to keep up with something, or, whatever it is, if that's a struggle for you, then work on yourself, personally develop, and get to a place where you own your journey, your story, and you're okay with that. I have goals, I have aspirations, I have visions for my family. But I also know, and I'm firm in the fact that it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. And I can control everything that I can control, but then I have to be okay with allowing everything else to fall in place as it should. And so I go about every single day like that. It is as it should be, and I'm doing my best and showing up as my best. And that's all I can do. And so if that's something that you struggle with, work on yourself personally, because you'll get to a place where you own your story, your journey, and you're just focused on where you're going and not everyone else. So
Love it so much. Thank you. Thank you for your impact today, and always. All right, couple rapid fire. Kristen, do you own your own Netflix account, or do you use somebody else's?
I did use my mom's, but then it kept giving me this like thing of like, you're not in the house, or you're not on the same Wi-Fi network. And I was like, dang it, I got to buy my own.
Love it. All right,
Probably
Cory,
makes
go.
you laugh, because my parents.
I do. I'm going to use their account.
What was your last impulse buy?
I have to put in purchase order requests, because my husband is a prior athletic director and he runs our entire life.
Ridiculous.
I love that.
I gave over
Make
control.
Jamie start submitting POs.
Yes. So
That
I
would
do
never
not-
happen,
I don't
ever.
get impulse buys. Ever.
No. Kristen, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Leanne Rhymes. How do I live?
I like that. I thought for sure it was gonna be like I like big butts or something.
That's mine. That's mine. Relax.
Okay.
Um,
Jacob, PO
What?
request implementing immediately.
what is your favorite type of music?
Oh, I literally just love music, so I love it. I mean, worship, rap, it's all over the place. Like my
Worship
Spotify
rap.
is ADD.
Oh, so good. All right, last one. Where did you get your legendary music skills, DJ skills?
Again, I just love, I mean, all state choir. Hello. I got awesome. Yeah. Choir. I have awesome DJ skills. I mean, what can I say? For hire.
I just love that you go from like Hillsong to Snoop.
Yeah, it is like there were times that I was in Carline and it would be like Bone Thugs Harmony and then Brandon Lake.
I love it. It's awesome.
It's awesome. Johnny's like,
So fun. So fun. Guys, if this is your first call, thank you for hanging with us. Thank you for, I mean, first calls I was on, I'm like, who are these people? They're so weird, but they're kind of fun. And it's different than any other environment I've ever been in. And 4.5 years later, I'm still obsessed with it. Love it so much. You're welcome to be part of it with us. Jump on in, join the fun. Kristen, thank you for being you. Really, thank you for the impacts you made today. Close to 300 people had their lives changed because of words that you said today. So love you so much. Appreciate you. Cory, fun doing this with you. Jacob, all the other leaders on this call, thank you for what you do. Let's go have a great week, guys. Welcome to August. Let's go set some more records. Thank you. Have a good day.